All right, let's take a look at this story this morning. Arizona hospitals are battling a new and extremely toxic, they're saying, supergerm. It is called NAP1, and health officials fear that it may be spreading to other cities. So far, it made 10 people extremely sick. 2 of those people have died. It's a new strain that is so far resistant to powerful antibiotics, and in severe cases, it can lead to an inflammation of the colon. Dr. Mark Siegel is a member of our Fox Medical A-team, of course, as well as a Fox News contributor. Dr. Siegel, I read about this. You know, it's kind of scary. You always assume that every germ that you could deal with could be treated with a huge blast of antibiotics, but not so.
Well, Martha, this is always changing, this kind of antibiotic. It lives in our intestines all the time, but we usually have other good antibiotics that knock it down. In people that are treated with antibiotics, or people that are elderly or chronically ill, this rears up. It can cause terrible diarrhea, and this new strain of it is very toxic and can cause dehydration and death. Now, it's very easy to spread on your hands, so I would caution people that are going to visit their relatives in the hospital on Memorial Day to wash their hands. It's so simple, but it's so easy to forget that. You're in the emotion of seeing your loved one. Wash your hands, because you can track this out of the hospital.
And you could give it to them even if it's somewhere else in the hospital.
Absolutely.
And they're in that vulnerable position.
That's
right?
a great point, because we're not cleaning our hospitals well enough. We're not using enough disinfectant. We're not using gloves enough. Workers are spreading it from one to the other. This is how it spreads.
Where does the supergerm come from?
Well, it's in our guts to begin with. But, you know, bacteria are always mutating. They're always changing. So it starts off, there's 500,000 cases a year of this to begin with. But the Centers for Disease Control in 2000 suddenly noticed that the thing was changing. It was becoming more and more toxic. That's the NAP1. We can treat it with 2 antibiotics, but that's it. And it's becoming more and more resistant. It's a very, very worrisome bacteria. And now Arizona has it. 39 states. Arizona has enough trouble. Now it's got this.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, where does it go from here? I mean, is there a way to stop it? And in the past, have we seen them sort of die out or become less resistant to antibiotics?
The only way to stop it is on a case-by-case basis. In Arizona, in those hospitals, here's what they've done. They've actually used more disinfectant. They've put hand precautions in there. Everyone's wearing gloves. If you're really careful with this, and you really wash your hands carefully, and you use the disinfectants properly, and you isolate people that have it and treat them right away, you can stamp it out. But if people are not paying attention to this. They have to within hospitals. And by the way, we're not making enough new antibiotics these days, so we can't keep up with these new supergerms.
Who's the most susceptible to this?
The elderly are the most susceptible, those with chronic illnesses, those with HIV, young and very old, and those who have just taken courses of antibiotics. If you've had a prolonged course of antibiotics, you've got to be on the lookout for this.
Yeah, well, that's good to point out as well. So wash your hands is always the main message, because if you don't get it in the first place and you don't pass it along, that's your best preventative.
And the hospitals now have these disinfectants. Use your Purell on the way out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Dr. Siegel, thank you very much.
Thanks, Martha.
Good to see you today.
Thank you. Happy Memorial Day.